Councilor Bowen. Thank you. We have a busy agenda for the council. We have 4 resolutions that we're going to present at the beginning. And then we have 2 presentations from partners in the community. So we'll go to those. We do have posted public hearings, the first at 7:20 and one at 7:30. And so I was just letting our presenters know we do need to open those at their posted times, but I would like to make sure we can get our resolutions and presentations done. And so if we need to push the hearings back just slightly after they're opened, we will, and then we'll take those. And then we have some routine business to take care of. We'll take a brief break for committee work and come back to finish up. So with that, I will officially call to order this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Monday, June 5th, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m. Ms. Kent, will you please call the roll?
Bowen. Here. Crowley.
Here.
Feldman.
Here.
Hausman.
Here.
Rand.
Here.
Rotundo.
Here.
St. Hilaire.
Here.
Sweeney.
Here.
And Flowers.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councilor Hausman, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Councilor Hausman. So as promised, we will go right to the first of our 4 resolutions. The first is Order 145. This is a resolution in honor of Carolyn Polanin-Kudlick, who is here with us this evening. Thank you for being here with us. And Councilor Feldman, Ward 5 Councilor, has submitted this resolution for the council's consideration. So Councilor Feldman, I'd invite you to go to the podium if you would be willing, and to invite Mrs. Polanin-Kudlick to go with Councilor Feldman, if you would be willing, for the presentation. And Councilor Feldman, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And yes, we are honoring Carolyn Polanin-Kudlick, also known as, I'm going to abbreviate that to Mrs. PK, which is what she has been known to many a Beverly High School student over the last couple of decades. So you are retiring, and it is very exciting. So, whereas Mrs. PK has admirably served the Beverly Public School System since 1985, beginning as choral director at Memorial Middle School. Whereas Mrs. PK began her storied tenure as Beverly High School choral director in December of 1992, accepting the position with a full course load and only 2 weeks to pull off a winter concert, which she did with aplomb. Whereas Mrs. PK led the BHS chorus at countless choral festivals and competitions, scoring well and making the city of Beverly proud with her unwavering commitment to vocal excellence. Whereas Mrs. PK has since led Beverly High School's theater curriculum with hundreds of performances, thousands of rehearsals, and countless words of encouragement to student singers, actors, dancers, musicians, technicians, and stage crew members. Whereas she is known to the students of Beverly High School as Mrs. PK, was an unstoppable and constant force behind annual musical theater productions ranging from 42nd Street in 1993 to Funny Girl in 2023, bringing many of Broadway's best shows to the citizens of Beverly. Whereas Mrs. PK threw herself into every aspect of each performance, including designing impressive sets and finding or repurposing costumes and props with a remarkable frugality, enabling her to deliver high-quality performances that far exceeded expectations despite budgetary limitations. Whereas she has demonstrated to her students a commitment to lifelong learning, frequently incorporating new technology into performances, such as bringing still photography projections and video into set backdrops. Whereas she had also worked with the BHS marching band and served as color guard director with a whatever it takes approach, sewing custom tailored flags and uniforms when needed. Many talents. Whereas she provided steadfast leadership on annual music trips, ensuring that everything from stage performances to bus arrangements and hotel logistics went smoothly for her students. Whereas she has given nearly 40 years of service to Beverly in a role that is both mentally and physically demanding, and would now like to spend more time with her wonderful family, especially her grandchildren, in retirement. Whereas she has passed the baton to many students who have become involved in theater, music, and music education, and who attest to the profound impact she has had on their lives, as do many others whose appreciation for the arts has been chiseled by Mrs. PK's abundant enthusiasm. Now, therefore, be it known that the Beverly City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Beverly, wishes to express sincere gratitude for the hard work and dedication of Carolyn Polanin-Kudlik in her 38 years of service to Beverly Public Schools and our community at large. The Beverly City Council and the citizens of Beverly recognize Mrs. PK's decades of choral, musical, and theatrical education and deeply value her commitment to inspiring audiences, developing talent, and opening hearts and minds to the possibilities of the arts in our city and beyond. We hereby recommend her for her tireless work, most of it behind the scenes, which has so enriched our city. Thank you so much for your service.
Mrs. PK, I don't want to assume, but you've walked away from the podium, but I do want to give you a moment to say a few words, if you would like.
I'm a woman of very few words. Just thank you so much for allowing me to live my dream. That was my dream, to be the choral director here in Beverly, and it has been wonderful 38 years here with your children.
Thank you. I realized maybe I should say you could sing or dance a few words if you wanted to.
Or I could just start leading the school committee and my students and make them sing.
I actually I said myself, should I disclose that I was in show choir with Miss PK at Memorial Middle School?
I should disclose that the reason why I know Mrs. PK so well is via my husband, Michael Keith Feldman, who was also known as the Pirate King in Pirates of Penzance in 1997, I think. So, thank you so much.
Counselors, I would entertain a motion to approve Order 145.
Enthusiastically so moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. Thank you very much, and that's officially approved. Thank you so much, Ms. PK. I do just want to say that many students who I have known professionally now through my work have also had Miss PK as their choral director or theater director, and when they find out that I was in show choir, they say, how can that be, because you can't sing? So it's good you didn't ask me to.
Mr. St. Hilaire was also one of my singers.
We can discuss a duet at another time.
Silly things you do when you're middle school.
My little known talents.
We do also have the pleasure of having 3 Eagle Scouts from Troop 49, Beverly Troop 49, here with us this evening, and we'll have the chance to honor each of them with resolutions. And so we will take them in turn, but Ryan Trabalsi, Brendan Brophy, and Samuel Tobacco. Okay, perfect. So we'll take them in turn, but I do want to just say generally to all of the Scouts and to Troop 49, all of the leaders, Scoutmasters, everyone who has nurtured these Eagle Scouts. We've seen Troop 49 here with us before with other Eagle Scout honorees, and so it's just a joy to have you back, but also just makes me think about the nurturing that's been going on in your troop and in Beverly and in our scouting. So thank you for being here. So we'll begin with Order 146. I'll put you there, Carol. Order 146 is for Ryan Trabalsi. So Ryan, I'd invite you to come forward to the podium. Congratulations, Ryan. So this is a resolution in honor of Ryan Trabalsi upon earning the rank of Eagle Scout, presented by the Beverly City Council, June 5th, 2023. Whereas Ryan Trabalsi has been an outstanding, active, and involved scout from the time he was young, beginning as a Cub Scout when he was in kindergarten, then joining Pack 49 in February of 2016 after he and his family moved to Beverly from Weymouth, and ultimately moving into Troop 49 before he turned 18 in January of 2023. Whereas Ryan attended Cove Elementary School in Beverly, Briscoe Middle School in Beverly, and then the Clark School in Rowley, and will be enrolling at Roger Williams University in the fall of 2023 with the intent to major in natural sciences. Whereas the rank of Eagle is the highest advancement rank in Scouting and requires Scouts to fulfill requirements in the areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills, all requirements Ryan has met with poise, determination, and excellence. Whereas to earn the rank of Eagle, a Scout must demonstrate the many skills required to move through ranks of Scouting on the path to Eagle: Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, Life. Whereas Ryan holds many beloved memories from his days as a Scout, including favorites such as opportunities to go on camping trips with good friends and to go whitewater rafting in Maine. Whereas Ryan embodies the character, the dedication to service and community, and the leadership skills that come with moving through the ranks of Scouting and that are hallmarks of an Eagle Scout. Whereas Ryan developed a plan for and successfully led the effort to complete his Eagle Scout project, working to reblaze the green trail in the Beverly Commons in October of 2022 to ensure that people can continue to safely use and enjoy this beautiful local natural resource and to have the opportunity to be active and engaged with the natural world. Whereas Ryan went on to earn the rank of Eagle on January 31st, 2023, and will attend his Court of Honor in June of 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Beverly does hereby commend Ryan Trabulsi for his excellence in community building, social and Scouting activities, and congratulates him on having earned the rank of Eagle Scout as a member of Beverly Troop 49. That the council wishes him all the best in his future pursuits and wishes him health, happiness, and continued success, and orders that the city clerk spread a copy of this resolution upon the city records. Congratulations, Ryan. Councillor Crowley, we'll go to you if you would come forward to do Order 147 for Brendan Brophy. And Brendan, if you would like to join Councillor Crowley.
My son is not the only Scout that tries to look respectable in
Good evening. A resolution in honor of Brendan Brophy upon his earning of the rank of Eagle Scout, presented by the City Council of Beverly, Massachusetts, June 5th, 2023. Whereas Brendan Brophy has been an outstanding, active, and involved Scout from the time he was young, beginning as a Tiger Scout in the first grade and participating in Pack and then Troop 49 for a cumulative 12 years. Whereas Brendan attended Hannah Elementary School in Beverly, Briscoe Middle School in Beverly, and then Beverly High School as part of the class of 2023, and will be attending Dartmouth beginning in the fall. Whereas the rank of Eagle is the highest advancement rank in Scouting and requires Scouts to fulfill requirements in the areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills, all requirements that Brandon has met with poise, determination, and excellence. Whereas to earn the rank of Eagle, a Scout must demonstrate the many skills required to move through the ranks of Scouting on the path to Eagle: Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, and Life. Whereas Brendan holds many beloved memories from his days as a Scout, including favorites such as the experience of stacking 10 Scouts in a rickshaw and flying down a hill together during his first whitewater rafting trip, as well as the ways in which Scouting has taught him and helped him to hone his skills in areas of leadership, citizenship, self-awareness, and willingness to take on and try new opportunities. Whereas Brendan embodies the character, the dedication to service and community, and the leadership skills that come with moving through the ranks of Scouting and that are hallmarks of an Eagle Scout, having served as a den chief, teaching younger Scouts, as a troop outdoor ethics guide, as a patrol leader, and having then been selected senior patrol leader of his troop. as well as participating in several unique scouting experiences, such as the Order of the Arrow and the Brownsea Leadership Camp. Whereas Brendan developed a plan for and successfully led the effort to complete his Eagle Scout oral history project, conducting, filming, and editing a series of interviews ranging from 45 minutes, 2 hours in length, with seniors in the Beverly community, which he then worked together with the Beverly Public Library staff to upload and make available for viewing via the public library's website. Whereas Brendan went on to earn the rank of Eagle on January 2nd, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Beverly does hereby commend Brendan Brophy for his excellence in community building, social, and scouting activities, and congratulates him on having earned the rank of Eagle Scout as a member of Beverly Troop 49. That the council wishes him all the best in his future pursuits and wishes him health, happiness, and continued success, and orders that the city clerk spread a copy of this resolution upon the city records. Congratulations, Brendan.
And then Counselor Estelle Rand is coming forward to do Order 148. This is a resolution for Eagle Scout Samuel Tobacco. And Samuel, if you would be willing to join Counselor Rand at the podium.
Hello. All right, a resolution in honor of Samuel Tobacco upon his earning the rank of Eagle Scout. Whereas Samuel Tobacco has been an outstanding, active, and involved scout from the time he was young, beginning as a Tiger Scout in Pack 49, moving to Pack 2 for his wolf year, and then returned to Troop 49 in his third year of scouting, where he has remained an active and engaged scout for the duration of his scouting career. Whereas Samuel attended Harbor Light Stone Ridge Montessori School for grades K through 3, Hannah Elementary School for grades 4 and 5, Briscoe Middle School for grades 6 through 7, Beverly Middle School for grade 8, and then Beverly High School as part of the class of 2023. And will be attending the University of Massachusetts Lowell in the fall with the intent to major in physics. Whereas the rank of Eagle is the highest advancement rank in scouting and requires scouts to fulfill requirements in the areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills, all requirements that Samuel has met with poise, determination, and excellence. Whereas to earn the rank of Eagle Scout, a scout must demonstrate the many skills required to move through the ranks of scouting on the path to Eagle: tenderfoot, second class, first class, star, life. And whereas Samuel holds many beloved memories from his days as a scout, including favorites such as the Gettysburg trip, which afforded him the fun of being at such a meaningful historic site with friends, as well as having the opportunity to camp during the trip. Whereas Samuel embodies the character, the dedication to service and community, and the leadership skills that come with moving through the ranks of scouting that are hallmarks of an Eagle Scout, and credits scouting with helping him to shape him into the person he is. Whereas Samuel developed a plan for and successfully led the effort to complete his Eagle Scout project, developing a clearing in the woods on the property of Wellspring House in Gloucester, building a platform with furniture and a swing set for residents to enjoy, as well as developing a garden below the clearing. Whereas Samuel completed his board of review for his Eagle on September 26, 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Beverly does hereby commend Samuel Tobacco for his excellence in community building, social, and scouting activities, and congratulates him on having earned the rank of Eagle Scout as a member of Beverly Troop 49, and that the council wishes him all the best in his future pursuits and wishes him health, happiness, and continued success, and orders that the city clerk spread a copy of this resolution upon the city records. Congratulations.
Congratulations again to all of our Eagle Scouts here tonight. Troop 49, I don't know Michelle or any other Troop 49 adults, if you'd like to have an opportunity to say a few words, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. So, okay.
I just want to thank the council for being so gracious.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate having you here, and congratulations again to our Eagle Scouts who are here with us. We do need to now take motions to officially approve all three of these resolutions for our Eagle Scouts. So, councilors, I would entertain a motion to approve Order 146. This is for Ryan Trabelsi.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. I would entertain a motion to approve Order 147. This is for Brendan Brophy.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That also carries 9-0. And a motion to approve Order 148. This is for Samuel Tobacco.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. If you couldn't all hear, there was like a so moved from both ends. That's why we were laughing. Congratulations again to all three Eagle Scouts. We do need to officially open our posted public hearing. I do want to take our presentations before we get to our public hearings. So, councilors, I will officially open our posted public hearing on order number 135. Ms. Kent.
Order number 135, that the order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, May 15, 2023, and rescheduled for tonight at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, live stream on BevCam relative to a National Grid Plan 307-58714 to install conduits on Levitt Street. And this was in the newspaper on May 5th.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. I would entertain a motion to recess this public hearing to 7:50.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we will reopen the public hearing on order 135 at 7:50. And this is a good time for me to mention that any members of the public here tonight to speak in that public hearing or the public hearing on order 142, which is the CPC, Community Preservation Committee's 10th round CPA funding recommendations, which I will be honest with you is also likely to be pushed back to be right behind this other public hearing, but you can sign up to speak on the sheets right in front of our city clerk, Ms. Kent, at any time. Before we go to our presentations, I know most of our scouts have just left, but I would entertain a motion just to take a 5-minute recess if they would like to come back and take pictures. If anybody who is here for resolutions would like to have a chance to leave, although you're welcome to stay with us for the whole night. So I'd entertain a motion to just take a 5-minute recess.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're in recess. following that recess. And thank you to all the counselors. Thank you, Counselor Feldman, for submitting that resolution in honor of Mrs. PK on behalf of the council. Thank you to counselors who helped read our Eagle Scout resolutions and to our Eagle Scouts for being here with us. We will now open our posted public hearing on Order 142. This is posted for 7:30. Ms. Kent.
Order number 142, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 7:30 PM at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, live stream on BevCam, relative to the Community Preservation Committee's 10th round CPA project funding recommendations. And this was published in the newspaper on May 26th.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Members of the council, I would entertain a motion to recess this hearing until 8 PM.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll recess that to 8 PM with the reminder to members of the public that you can add your name if you wish to speak in either public hearing on the sheets in front of our city clerk at any time. We'll go now to presentations, awards, and memorials, and we do have 2 presentations. Both of these sections are typically, as counselors know, about 10 minutes. Presentations to just help inform us about some of the partners working in our community. So the first is Aka Denjankapa, but please correct my pronunciation of your last name. Thank you. And you're here to talk to us about partnerships for Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Councilor Rand and Councilor Kent and Councilor Flowers for inviting me into this space. 2 goals of this kind of presentation, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet to my 10-minute, keep me honest to that. One is just like awareness of the programs that already exist in Beverly, and we just need a little bit more energy behind to make sure that the right community members can access them, and that the kind of bigger awareness is that people are also available to join, people like yourselves or other people that might be interested. So, who is Big Brothers Big Sisters? We are often confused with the Boys and Girls Club, so not to be confused. We don't have brick and mortar. We're kind of, we're in the cities already. We provide one-to-one free transformational mentoring. So we match a youth with a caring adult. That's a free program. We serve all of Eastern Massachusetts. So Framingham East, New Hampshire South, Rhode Island North. My role with Big Brothers Big Sisters, I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships. So I do both the activation of an engagement with youth and also finding awesome, dynamic, caring adults to be in their corner. We've been around for 75 years. We provide the most amount of mentoring matches in the state and actually in the nation as well. And I think the nice way of thinking about us is like actionable DEI, but we're also really fun, right? It's about having powerful connections between adult and a youth. And if you want to think about how to have impact on this next generation, particularly if you care about them being civically engaged, I think this is a great opportunity. So, one of the kind of plugs that I always have people think about as I'm whipping through this presentation is about the people that were mentors in your life. Maybe they were a coach, maybe they were an aunt, maybe they were an uncle, maybe you didn't have one and you really wanted one, or an older brother. It's auspicious that the Boy Scout is here today before, because I think that's a good example of the flourishing of youth when they have mentorship and guidance. So think about that. Why we mentor. I'll pull out one stat that basically the biggest part of this is that youth feel empowered, and the benefits to the adult are also huge. Raj Chetty, he's a macroeconomist at Harvard. He wrote an article maybe 4 or 5 months ago. He talked about intersectionality, and he talked about the communities that have more opportunities for intersectionality, whether that be race or economics. They end up caring about each other more, and by default have more social mobility. That's powerful. Macro study. Anyways, I think we're a good byproduct of that, our program. I put in here 2 profiles of people that are recent mentors for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I always like to think about this because a lot of people question whether they can do that, whether it's the right fit for them. I'd also name that we're always looking for men. I think men have commitment phobia. I'm gonna put myself out there with that. So, you know, women volunteer with us at a 7-to-1 ratio to men. But if you can think about the waiting list of youth, it's the inverse of that. So we have young male-identifying youth that stay on our waiting list exceptionally long compared to females. So, call to action for male identifiers in the room. Again, 2 profiles that I would just have you consider thinking about it. 3 programs that I want to lift up. The first is that we have a community campus-based program already happening at Endicott. It's been alive and active for 8 years. It has the capacity for way more youth. Currently, we transport youth from Gloucester down to this program rather than serving kids in Beverly and maybe even Salem. Has the capacity for 20 or 40 kids to be there. It happens on Saturdays, 2 times a month, and kids go to that campus, they get an awesome match. All of our matches are professionally supported, so if a kid runs into or a mentor runs into a challenge, whether it's a tough issue or a tough topic, they have somebody right there. That's the largest department in our organization. So the other is community mentoring, which is kind of what people think of us when they know of Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's where you mentor a youth in your community, 7 through 12-year-old, right? We have about 8 kids in Beverly already waiting. 1 is female identifying, 7 are male identifying. And the last one that I would just lift up is a high school program. And this is a little bit more flexible. This is a new program we're launching in the fall of this year at Revere High School. I actually just came from they call it Committee of the Whole. Revere presented to the same one and about that program. So a lot of different options. They're flexible. They're doable. I'm in a program. I'm in the Big Futures program. I'm a father of 2. One is 3 years old. One is 1 year old. I drive into Roxbury once a month for an awesome connection. Otherwise, I just drop them a text. Chop it up about how bad the Celtics imploded or how bad the Bruins imploded. But also, you know, it's amazing what happens after 6 months. First 6 months are yes, no answers, and then next thing you know, he tells you that he's seeing somebody or he's going to try a summer camp. And you know, back to Raj Chetty and Impact just for a second. The data is suggesting if you have 1 caring adult in your corner, 1 caring adult, not even multiple, that you can drastically change the trajectory of a youth life. And so I've just put that out there that, like, whether it's us as a city or whether it's you as counselors or whether it's your family or friends, or if you have a niece or a nephew, you can refer them, you can ask them to be a mentor. There's a lot of opportunity locally, and I would just lift that up. So here's my like commitment phobia slide. If you're thinking that you can't do it, you can. We build our programs to be flexible. We build them to be inclusive. We build them to be accessible for different generations, different races, different work styles. So I think the one that I would like to lift up of this is just the impact. 96% of bigs help their little see their potential. Quickly, what is the process? Well, today is what we would call an info session. If you're interested in moving forward, I have business cards. I'll leave them kind of up in the front. But the next step is to have a pretty in-depth interview of what your values are, what your lifestyle is. It takes about an hour. We do it over Zoom. It's pretty easy. And then we match you with a youth. And we would match you depending on which program you felt was like the best fit for you. We'd probably match you if you decided to do community-based with a youth in Beverly. The campus base is college students. I'm plugging that because I want more of our youth in Beverly housing or in Beverly to know about it and to access that program. It's free, and there's no reason why kids on Saturdays, especially if they don't have anything to do, shouldn't go out and kick around the ball or throw the football around with a college student at Endicott. So definitely have a need for male identifying. I'll put that out there. BIPOC, language diverse, LGBTQIA, and industry aligned. If you're wondering what industry aligned means, it just means people that have the same kind of industry background or exposure to what kids might be interested in, right? The QR code is not picking up on this, but that's the end of my presentation. I'll just say again, thank you for the opportunity. I'll leave some cards, and if you have any questions, always open to answering any questions. So.
Thank you very much. Counselors, we have a couple minutes for questions if you have any about this presentation. Counselor Rand.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And I always love to hear you talk about what you do. It never fails to make me feel inspired to get connected and be involved. But will you remind me, you may have already said it and I just sort of missed it, how can we help connect youth to your program, though it sounds like you have a waiting list already for the community.
I think there's 2 calls to action, so thanks for asking that question. Great question. The first is, if you know any adults, 18 plus, that would be great mentors, refer them to us, and we'll connect them to a youth in Beverly or Salem or wherever they feel comfortable driving to. They don't have to have a car, but it helps. The second call to action is, if you have relationships at the Beverly Housing Authority, or if you have relationships with some of the organizations that serve some of our communities in need, that would be awesome, right? And they don't have to just be communities in need, right? You can expand that to whatever youth-serving organizations might benefit from this. I would love an introduction, and we can find out a way to connect those youth with an awesome mentor on Endicott's campus.
Thank you. Counselor Rand, do you have a follow-up?
Just a quick comment. When Akka and I first met, we met down at the castle to talk about how we can sort of make the connection here in City Hall. And the person who was working as a barista was a big sister, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just kind of neat to be part of that. Right, as soon as I started learning about it, it's everywhere you look, kind of. So, just a quick comment.
Thank you, Counselor Rand. Any other questions from counselors? Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the presentation, and thanks for being willing to leave your contact information. If you don't mind leaving that with Ms. Kent, she'll make sure that counselors can access that, and others in the community as well.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our second presentation this evening is Paul Earle from the Beverly Harbor Management Authority. Mr. Earle, welcome back. Always a pleasure to see you as well. Thanks for being here with us.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hear me okay?
Yes.
And thank you. Good evening, Council President and other council members. Thanks for inviting me to highlight ongoing and upcoming initiatives of Beverly Harbor Management Authority and to answer your questions. As you know, detailed information was distributed with the agenda, pages 81 to 90, and I'm not going to plow through all that, or it would take me a lot more than 5 to 10 minutes. Brief background, just highlight. BHMA was created by the state legislature in 1987 and supports and partners with the city of Beverly on various initiatives related to public access, waterfront development and use, water-related activities. We also manage the operations and prepare budgets for public facilities on the harbor, including the Glover Wharf Marina, signage along the waterfront, the blue signage, and other infrastructure to support water-related activities to benefit our customers, the residents of Beverly, and those visiting by water, or land for that matter, in Beverly. Okay, on to some highlights. I've grouped these into 5 or 6 categories. Improvements at Glover Wharf Marina, some of which have occurred since you got that report about, I don't know, a month and a half ago now. Additional signage down at the marina for both tie-up and fishing. It's going to get more crowded than it's ever been because of the obvious, and we need to try to keep everybody happy. So there's more signage going up, and I'm sure there'll be changeovers as we go forward. Expanded dinghy tie-up. We're not charging for that, but we're putting in another dinghy bar. Probably have capacity for maybe 50 inflatables at one time. If people want to come from somewhere in Beverly or Salem or wherever, maybe go to the new restaurant, go to the Anchor, go somewhere, and then go back. It'll alleviate pressure on the cars maybe a little bit, and it'll be more pleasant if it's a nice day to come by water than to hang out in traffic. So we're doing that. We got a grant, as you know, you approved it for a knot tying exhibit on the public pier. That's well underway. We have 2 artists that have already submitted applications and shown interest. BevCam's going to participate along with high school students, probably from the sailing team, to do videos of knot tying. And you can get those off YouTube, but I think it's better if we do it with local people, and folks might see people they know and all that. So that's going to be happening over the next 3 or 4 months. Improved energy and efficient lighting. We've been constantly changing bulbs to energy efficient ones as they burn out, and we'll continue to do that. Safety ladders on the floats. There's about 6 of them out there now on the commercial side, on the transient, and on the rec side. Partly through a request from our harbor master, Pete, and I think it's a really good addition to the marina. Slip metering of electric use. Right now, we can't tell who's using what, and with electricity costs the way they are, the boaters are getting a really, really good deal. So we're working with Falco. I've mentioned them before. They have an electricity metering process where each boat in each slip will be able to meter at real time, get reports whenever we want, see when they go over their allowance, because they each have an allowance, and then HMA will decide whether we want to bill them for it or not, depending on, first things first, though, we got to be able to collect the data and see what's going on. So that should be implemented. It's in process for approval through the city, and it should be up and running by July 1, I hope, so we can start using that. Improve security on the commercial float. That was requested by the commercial fishermen. We're going to be either changing the gates or fixing them and putting in locks. And also we're putting in a camera for the transient float. You really can't see that, but that's going to be much more active. It's down low next to the public pier. And so we're going to put in a camera somewhere that could be monitored from the harbor building as well as perhaps other places. And we're considering putting in an ADA compliant lift on the transient float. Marblehead has one of these. They got it through a grant, I think, and they're not that expensive. So disabled people can kind of either go down or go up, depending on how high the boat is that they're trying to get on, okay? And they're never the height of the float. And we're also looking into an ice machine or service for customers and visitors, both rec, commercial, and people that come in to take moorings for a weekend or something like that and need ice. And we're looking at a trash skimmer from an environmental point of view to improve that. 3 minutes. Promoting visiting, but I started late. Promoting visiting Beverly by boat. We're implementing DACWA, which those of you who boat have heard of, I'm sure, for reservations, short-term on the float, overnight on the moorings. We're partnering with the Harbor Master Department to make all this happen in terms of certain of us are paying certain things and sharing resources and et cetera. It's going very well. So far, we got a couple of little hiccups to work out, which we will. And we hope to have that fully operational within a couple of weeks. The important part here, too, is the outreach through DACWA marketing is extraordinary. They reach about 80,000 active boat owners in New England with push-out emails all the time, and they have over 10 million unique visitors to their website a year. And Glover Wharf and Beverly has a page on there now. If you go up DACWA.com, search for Glover Wharf, you'll see the page. It's not active yet for making reservations, but it's there. So it's good publicity for the city and for Glover Wharf. Also, there's the Glover Wharf app, which some of you have loaded, and we're continuing to improve that. We put out news like the pump boat started operations again on April 29th or something like that, and whatever. So it's very, very useful for that. And we're also participating again in the Massachusetts Marine Trades Association's Stay Local program. Our customers on the rec side get discounts when they go to marinas that are part of that program, most of them down in the Cape and in Boston. And but also we attract people from there, and they get a discount if they come to Beverly. And the program is highly promoted. So again, Beverly is getting promotion out of that. Infrastructure upgrades and expansion. The new hoist pier we hope to have in now, but there were delays, and winter 23-24 looks like when it's going to happen. We've applied for a delay or an extension from Seaport Economic Council, and that's no problem. So the money's still there. What you guys did on matches and stuff is still good. It's just not getting done now. And we're looking into float expansion on the area off the Rowan's property there, since that was part of the acquisition by the city. And there's a study underway now, but the land side's being taken care of first for obvious reasons, and then they'll get working on the water side. We're working regularly with the Harbor Master Department. We've provided some financial support for training, which wasn't in their budget and was necessary and behind. So that's a good thing. We've also agreed to a match on the new pump boat, which is close to or has been ordered. I'm not sure. It's kind of almost there, I guess. And and we're generating and sharing ideas for improvements at the marina. And if you look at our budget that was submitted, tab 2 of the budget showed a wish list that the Harbor Master Department has, which will deal with that as it comes along. Last, we're supporting Beverly residents and visitors, not just the marina. We advocate for public access and continue to have a couple of balls in the air near Tuck Point and one other area. That's very, 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 very slow. And involves a lot of moving parts, unfortunately. So, but we will not stop doing it. Signage, Phase 3 is being considered, which would be in about 6 or 7 other locations, and that'll be discussed at our next meeting in a couple of weeks, and we'll decide whether to move forward or not. If we decide to move forward, we'll coordinate that with the planning department, obviously, to make sure that things are in sync. But people seem to like the signage, and we'd like to have it other places. Kayak racks expansion. There's 3 new racks going in this month. That'll give us 24 more spots. It'll cut the waiting list down to maybe 60. But, you know, every little bit helps. So we've got more racks coming in. And we're involved in other projects like the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant, and have helped out on the Bass River Paddle, and as has BevCam, thank you very much, and other environmental projects that are coming along. Several of these are supported by state grants and have matches shared by the city and provided by the city and by us, you know that. Others are funded by just BHMA, which generate revenues and profits, which we reinvest. Since 2011, BHMA, which is a volunteer organization, as everybody knows, has contributed over $1 million in multiple projects in the city, which either wouldn't have been done, or if they had been done, they would have had to have been done on taxpayer dollars. Financials are in good shape. We have waiting lists for marine slips, kayak racks, everything. Operating profits are strong, which enables us to invest, and our capital fund and encumbered matches are very, very solid. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, and thanks again for inviting me to come and give this update.
Thank you very much, Mr. Earl, for being here. And I do want to mention our Harbor Master, Peter Dickman, is also here with us this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Dickman. Counselors, I know we are really tight to the time on our hearing, but is there a quick question or two for Mr. Earl? It was very thorough, so perhaps not. Counselor Houseman.
I just want to say, when I was a brand-new counselor, I was liaison with the Harbor Management Authority, and I just want to thank Mr. Earl and all of the volunteers on the Harbor Management Authority for all the hard work they do, because they really do a yeoman's work in contributing to the city, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Houseman. Appreciate that. And also, all of you, don't forget Harbor Fest. Put it on your calendars. It's an election year, right? So it's important. There'll be a lot. And it's on September 10th. That's probably good timing. Sunday after Labor Day. Lynch Park, Sunday, September 10th, 2 to 5. We've moved up an hour this year to get a little bit more daylight out of it when we're cleaning up. So hope to see you all there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Earl. Thanks for being here with us and for your good work as well. Thank you. Councilors, we will reopen our public hearing on Order 135. Ms. Kent has already read this order, but this is on National Grid's Plan 307-58714. Members of the public who may be here for this can add your names to speak at any point. We do have a National Grid representative here with us. If you would come to the podium, just state your name and share with us anything that you may have about this plan that you would like to update us with.
Hi, my name is Michael Kazadi, and I'm representing National Grid at 44 River Street in Beverly. And for this job, we're just petitioning to install a handhole and approximately 5 feet of concrete to feed the customer at 23 Ocean Street.
Thank you very much. Councilors, are there questions or comments on this National Grid plan? Councilor Rand.
Thank you so much. Can you just tell me, there's already service there? This is just an upgrade, or?
Yeah, so the customer is upgrading, and we're redirecting the power to the back of his house instead of where it goes in right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rand. Other comments or questions from councilors? Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in this public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close that public hearing. We'll refer that back to the Subcommittee on Public Services to be able to take action on that this evening. And thank you very much for your patience and for being here as we juggle some items tonight. I appreciate that. We do have a few minutes before we go to our now 8 o'clock public hearing on Order 142. Members of the public who may be here to speak on this public hearing on the Community Preservation Committee's 10th round CPA funding recommendations can add your name at any time to the list in front of Ms. Kent if you wish to speak. We'll take care of a little bit of business in this little in-between time, beginning with acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. We have 4 sets of meeting minutes to approve. One, Councilor Houseman, I understand you have a small amendment to, so we'll take them as individual. The first is a joint meeting of the Beverly School Committee and City Council, March 22nd, 2023. Is there a motion to approve that set of minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. The next is the minutes from our regular City Council meeting, May 15th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve that set of minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. The next is the minutes from Committee on Finance and Property Committee of the Whole from May 23rd, 2023. Councilor Houseman.
Yes, Madam President, I have a very small amendment for clarity, which I've run by a person taking the minutes and who has signed off and agreed to it. So with the assertion, I think, of just one word, I would move that we approve these minutes as revised by that one edit.
And I think for other councilors, Councilor Houseman, correct me if I'm wrong, but the edit that Councilor Houseman is proposing is in the paragraph that begins, Houseman stated it seems conversations about the design, the insertion of the word other in the sentence, Houseman stated he was surprised other city employees.
Correct.
Is that correct? So is there a motion to approve this set of minutes with this proposed amendment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. The last set of minutes are the minutes from our special city council meeting, May 25th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 9-0. With 1 minute, Ms. Kent, maybe we can read one of communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Order number 149, Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request a transfer of $240,000 from the city's certified free cash balance to fund 3 capital needs within the fire and library departments. We are seeking to allocate $90,000 of this request for repair work of the secondary elevator within the main branch of the library. It is currently out of order, and we have received quotes for the necessary repair work. Additionally, $60,000 of the request will be allocated to purchase a new cargo van for the library operations. The current van is nearing the end of its useful life and is in need of replacement. Lastly, the fire department would replace their aging forestry response vehicle that would require an allocation of $90,000. This requested transfer will require a public hearing prior to any final council action. Please initiate action at your next city council meeting by adding a public hearing, scheduling a public hearing. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. We'll refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing. And that brings us exactly to 8 o'clock. So we will reopen the recessed public hearing on order 142.
Want me to read it again? Order number 142, that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 7:30 PM at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, live stream on BevCam relative to the Community Preservation Committee's 10th round CPA project funding recommendations. And this was in the newspaper on May 26th.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. I want to also just mention, I mentioned our harbor master, but also our city finance director, Mr. Brian Ailes, is here with us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Ailes. And our planning director, Darlene Nguyen, is also here with us. Thank you, Ms. Nguyen. Ms. Nguyen, are you going to speak to open this public hearing, or is there someone else here who's prepared to speak? Mr. Beckwith, thank you. I should have known you were standing for a reason, Mr. Beckwith.
Well, thank you very much, President Flowers and members of the committee. Derek Beckwith, I'm the vice chair of the Planning Council. Our chair, Heather Richter, is out of state, otherwise she would be here. She's very disappointed, and I'll do my best to represent the committee tonight.
Thank you for being here.
Now, we sent you a letter with a brief description of the projects that we had. We had 8 pre-applications come into the CPC this year, and ultimately 5 applications were presented to us for funding. 2 were in the, hold on, I have my notes in front of me. 2 were in the historic preservation, actually 3 are in historic preservation, and 2 are in recreation. And we had a public hearing, to kick off the whole process early on. We had, I think, 4 different meetings on the different projects, and had ultimately had 3 projects that had come before us before the year who did not file with us. So our number of projects is down this year, and the amount of funding that we're requesting from the budget is down this year, you'll note. But we anticipate during the course of the year we'll have some out-of-cycle applications come before us. Of the projects that we did fund, we have the, and this is in the order of the letter that you had, the last project that we actually voted on is the first in the letter, and that's sound mitigation in support of the new pickleball courts at the Birch Plains Park that are being built, and that's in the amount of $44,200. The original application that was presented to us for $250,000. But ground was broken on the project before we made a decision, so we could not fund that particular those budget items that were part of that. But what was not included in the budget originally or in the city's plans to fund was sound mitigation paneling around the courts to help mitigate noise for the neighbors. And that is what we funded, $44,200 specifically for sound mitigation to help ease any issues that the abutters will have from the sound of the courts. $25,000 for the Gillis Park for playground equipment, including ADA accessible water fountain and new equipment to make the park more enjoyable for everyone and more accessible. $100,000 for repair of exterior walls and building structure at Lynch Park, the Lynch Park Carriage House. I anticipate you might have a question or two about that. $80,000 for the final phase of the cemetery fence historic preservation project that is taking place around the, thanks to the Beverly Farms Civic Association or organization the preservation of the iron fence, of the wrought iron fence around the park, around the cemetery, is, the final phase is $80,000 is our contribution to that. And that's in the, our recommendations. And then a very interesting one, akin to 2 years ago when we presented funding for the Cabot Cinema, we are recommending that the council support efforts to provide funding to the Larkham Theater for historic preservation. This is all external. It is to recreate the historic marquee on the outside of the building. And it includes additional funds from the Larkham of about $21,000. The total cost of the project is $196,000. Our contribution would be $175,000, and that's from the general fund. And that's our recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beckwith.
Yep.
Members of the council, are there questions or, Councilor Rotundo?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Beckwith, nice to see you. Thank you. Just one question I have. It's in regards to the carriage house. I know the community preservation has given money in the past to it, but, you know, we look at the carriage house and there's a lot repairs to it, and we've seen the studies that it's a larger amount of money that would need to be to save the house, if that's even the direction we go. And, you know, to me, I just keep seeing that it's almost like we're putting a Band-Aid on a gushing wound. And, you know, from what the conversation you and I had briefly, it was a 7-2 vote on that. But is it still going to be the intent of the CPC, if it's continually requested by the recreation of the city, to continue throwing money at it? I mean, to me, it's almost like we're throwing good money against the bad. Whether a study needs to be, whether it's to tear the carriage house down, or do we put a, you know, I know it's on the capital improvement project, but it just seems like we're just putting Band-Aids on all of it.
Or to relocate it, you know, to move it, or, you know, any one of a number of things. The questions you have, and were questions that we raised as well, and concerns that we have in terms of consistently funding, and this is $100,000 towards $158,000, I think it is, in repairs. And those concerns are, were made very clear to the representatives that were presenting it, that it's not an endless well of support and funding. However, it was pretty clear in looking at the condition of the carriage house to anyone that's been there. It is in very desperate shape right now. There has been damage to the exterior, north side, I think it is, and there was animal infestation, things like that. And this is an emergency type of project to shore it up so that if we had a 100-year storm, there is a threat to actually have the building or part of the building come down. And we felt that this funding, if that's going to alleviate that concern right now, is something that we should definitely put towards, because we could lose this asset right now. But we really requested that the city get a proposal to us so that we understand what would be needed and what their vision is for the site. But we feel if we didn't put this money in, at least in a 7-2 vote, that you know, we could have consequences that will cost even more in the short term, and make long-term solution, a resolution of the issue much more difficult.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Other questions or comments from members of the council?
Did you want to respond?
Well, do you want to go first?
I have another question.
Councilor St. Hilaire.
Mr. Beckwith and perhaps Mr. Ailes, you may want to weigh in here as well. I guess I had a question regarding the CPC's view of completion of projects. So, for instance, the Beverly Farm Cemetery. I know they've had a difficult time getting the work done and coordinating with the city. I have no problem, obviously, supporting that or any of these other projects, but does the CPC look at Are these projects getting done? I think one of the things the Finance and Property Committee has been talking about is the cost of doing a project is escalating. If we sit and authorize money 2 years down the line, is that gonna be enough to get the project done, and then what happens? Does the CPC track that? Do you talk about that as part of your approval process, you know, the ability to get the project done?
We actually just talked about that at our last meeting, without any firm resolution, but certainly is an issue to look at in terms of tracking the milestones. Each project has a memorandum of understanding as part of it, with milestones to make sure that the project is moving forward, with an end date to the project. If the project needs to be extended for any reason, the project comes before us, the representatives come before us, asking for an extension with the reasons why, and so we make a decision as to whether or not to extend or not. If the CPC funding is only released when those milestones are reached, and the applicants and the project owners are clear that there's no increase that happens in terms of funding for the projects. Some projects, because of the pandemic, did run into issues of being able to move forward, you know, just because of contractor availability, things like that, and supply chain. But it's an ongoing issue for us in terms of making sure that projects are being overseen, you know, with a lot of attention to minute detail, because we know it takes a lot. I mean, we could have three, I'm making this up, but hypothetically, we could have 3 full-time staff people working and overseeing these projects, you know, and that's just not a reality. It's not a possibility with funding. So, right now, we just want to make sure that as we move forward, that we put, whether it's in the memorandum of understanding, the project agreements, that we make sure that we're getting oversight, update reports, you know, things like that. But at this time, we feel okay with it.
So I guess if the project does not happen after we've authorized the funding for it, does that money just get returned back to the fund?
The money is never left.
How often does that happen?
The money is never left, actually.
Okay.
Because they'll only get paid when, you know, they've reached the milestone in the project to get paid. So we don't pay unless the work has been.
I think a lot of us view it as we approve it, we assume it's going to get done, and we've recently learning that sometimes it doesn't get done, and getting some visibility into that would be helpful.
Yeah, excuse me, Council, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over.
No, go ahead.
There are a few projects that timed out, basically, that's it, closed out, and no extensions, and that was it. I mean, we retain all the money stays in the budget. We have that to be able to put to other projects.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Houseman.
Yes. I just wanted to respond briefly to my colleague from Ward 1 regarding the comments to the carriage house. I agree with you. It's a big project. It's an expensive project. I think the concern from my vantage point in Ward 4 is that that it's not so much the CPC committee and its actions to maintain until a larger budget appropriation is made for the carriage house, as concern about what should happen for the carriage house. I really think it's the administration. And the carriage house, like the Rose Garden, is part of the the jewels of Beverly when it comes to our public spaces. And like the tennis courts or the eroding shore at Aubert Park, all of these various different public assets deserve attention and deserve consideration. So while I share your concern about the need to appropriately tend to the city assets like that, I wouldn't suggest that tearing down the carriage house is perhaps the best way to approach the problem.
Counselor Rotundo.
Madam President, thank you. If I misunderstood, if I mistakenly spoke and said to tear it down, my statement was it better to tear down or rebuild? That was what I was trying to get across. So if I mistakenly said tearing it down was the root, that was not what my intent was. My intent was to say, should we look into it further, whether to tear it down would be more feasible or whether to rebuild?
Thank you for the clarification, although I would say that to tear down an historic building, you don't rebuild an historic building. Once you rebuild it, it's no longer a historic building. You maintain it, and you preserve it, preferably, so, in any event. I don't want to prolong the conversation, but at least I think that the consideration around public assets, I appreciate the care and consideration by the CPC towards the preservation of that particular item on its list.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions from counselors? Counselor Bowen.
Thank you. Probably more comment than question, but there might be a question in the end. I just wanted to comment on the Lynch Park project and on the pickleball project, and really thank the committee for doing such rigorous work throughout on vetting these projects and on inviting the public in to talk about the projects. And so on the carriage house, I think it sounds like other colleagues are in the same boat of thinking it's hard to get those emergency requests and know that they're needed and not have the whole plan also underway. And so I think we do have the opportunity to dig in a little more in the capital expenditure plan that's still in front of us for discussion. I think in there, the proposal is to start a $7 to $10 million size project, potentially by borrowing from in the general fund. But that's not in the debt schedule until 2029, I believe. Looking over at the finance director to see if I'm roughly in that ballpark. And so $100,000 today doesn't seem like it will stretch us until 2029. And so I do wonder if there's anything that can be built into the MOU to just either as one of those milestones, kind of requiring a little bit more on that broader maintenance plan or the engagement process that's gonna help get us there, because the scope of the problem seems to be pretty well defined, but just the way forward. So that's sort of on that side, and there's maybe a question in there about the MOU itself and whether there's anything either we can recommend or that the CPC is already planning to write in there. The other piece on the pickleball courts, just wanted to, again, thank you for the rigorous process and just comment on, the scope of that project changed a lot, I think, because of those conversations. And I think it's a good example of how when we're investing large sums of public money in projects for public benefit, we get to have that conversation. So I'm really glad to see that we can still support some sound mitigation strategies. It seems like those are really needed in the neighborhood. And we did talk a little bit in the budget hearings about sort of where the rest of that money was coming from, state earmarks, specifically for that project and for other parks and rec projects. So I didn't know if there was any further context on sort of that evolution that we should consider. It seems like that chunk of money that's left for the last piece is well worth it at this point.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bowen.
The pickleball courts, interestingly, at least in my tenure on the CPC, we have never seen the size crowd show up for our meetings. So that was definitely a public benefit. We may have tripled the previous, when we had both the proponents and the neighborhood folks who were concerned all together. It was good, and everyone was very civil, and it was very good open discourse too. So so we enjoyed that part of it. The In terms of the Lynch Park MOU, we didn't have any specific conditions that we placed during our vote on the project. The project itself is, specific to shoring up the exterior, the interior, making it, safe from having, raccoons and other animals and everything come in and cause, continued damage. But earlier in our, last year, the mayor did indicate that at some point we were going to have some sort of proposal for that and the Beverly Golf and Tennis Club. Now, whether or not that changes or not, it still was something that we are waiting for and expect and, encourage sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Mr. Beckwith. Thank you, Counselor. Other questions or comments from members of the council? Mr. Beckwith, before I open it to members of the public, I also note there are other members of the CPC here with you. Would you like to take a moment just to introduce other members of your committee who are here?
We have Susie Lamont right here and Danielle Spang, our two newest and extremely valuable members of the committee. So,
thank you very much for being here with us also, and to all three of you for serving on the CPC as well. Are there members of the public who wish to speak in this public hearing? Mr. Ailes, I wasn't trying to also pass over you. Were you here to speak at all on this? Just here to ask a question. Okay, thank you. Seeing no members of the public here to speak in this public hearing, I will close this public hearing. We'll refer it back to Legal Affairs Subcommittee to be able to discuss that this evening. To Finance and Property to discuss it this evening. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I know, and she was talking to me very clearly, and I was just looking at her. To Finance and Property. That is what I said. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Mr. Beckwith, for standing in for Ms. Richter. You did an excellent job, no surprise there. And Ms. Richter, you were missed, and we'll look forward to having you with us as well in the future. Let's return Ms. Kent to communications from His Honor the Mayor, and we'll pick up at Order 150, please.
Order number 150, dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request that you approve a transfer from the Airport Enterprise Fund balance of $75,000 to fund the continuation of work associated with the testing and monitoring of property at the airport. This ongoing work is necessary to comply with DEP requirements. Please initiate action on this matter at your next City Council meeting on June 5th. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing.
Order number 151, dear Honorable City Council, I know you are aware that the City of Beverly contracted with the consultant GovHR to conduct a thorough job and salary review for the Beverly Municipal Employees Association. The consulting team performed reviews of job descriptions, conducted surveys, performed interviews, and evaluated positions within comparable communities to arrive at some suggested modifications to the current grade and pay structure of BMEA positions. In an effort to implement the modified structure, I am requesting a transfer of up to $230,000 in the FY 2023 budget to fund retroactive costs back to July 1st, 2022 for these adjustments. In addition, with your approval of this order, we will realign fiscal year 2024 budget to properly account for these. The FY 2023 interdepartmental transfer of up to $230,000 will be funded from the following areas: $89,000 from the Reserve for Incentive Plan, $130,000 from the Reserve for Separation of Service, and $11,000 from the short-term principal line. We look forward to discussing these revisions with you in an upcoming public hearing. Proper advertisement of a minimum of 7 days prior to the public hearing will be necessary. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing as well.
Order number 152, Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request that you approve a budget transfer of $15,000 into the Fire Department budget to fund the FY 2023 costs associated with the attached side letter between the City of Beverly and the Firefighters Union, as well as some anticipated coverage cost overage with the department's operating budget for fiscal year 2023. The term of this side letter would go into effect upon your approval of this order. With the approval of the City Council, $15,000 will be transferred from the reserve for unforeseen. There are sufficient funds available within the reserve accounts to support this transfer. I am attaching for your review the side letter agreement. Please initiate action on this matter at your next council meeting. Sincerely yours, by P.K. Hill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing.
Order number 153, Dear Honorable City Council, as we approach the end of fiscal year 2023, it is necessary to realign some funding within our operating budget to account for costs related to the state's charter school assessment through June 30th in the Harbor Master budget. The original estimated charter school assessment was budgeted at $231,530 per the published cherry sheets, but that figure, which represented an estimated, has been revised to $389,042. Based on the most recent Department of Elementary and Secondary Education calculations. Separately, the Harbor Master budget has some anticipated overages, as one of the smaller budgets has limited ability to cover these overages within its existing budget. I am requesting an interdepartmental transfer totaling $170,012, consisting of $157,512 to fund the increased assessment and $12,500 to be placed into the Harbor Master budget. $18,214 of the total will be transferred from the reserve for unforeseen, and the remaining $151,798 will be transferred from the short-term principal line. This request will require a public hearing prior to any action by the City Council. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing.
Order number 154, Dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request a transfer of $600,000 from the city's certified free cash balance to be placed into the city's road and sidewalk capital fund to support paving work for fiscal year 2024. As you are aware, the fiscal year 2024 budget I recently proposed to the City Council seeks to allocate $22.1 million to the road and sidewalk fund in FY 2024. This requested transfer would provide additional resources, bringing the total city contribution to $2.7 million for the upcoming fiscal year work. We look forward to discussing this at the upcoming public hearing. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing as well.
Order number 155, Dear Honorable City Council, this past fall, the City Council approved a $1 million loan authorization for work that was needed on culverts of the North Beverly Brook between Cabin and Herrick Street intersection in the lower Shoe Pond. As we discussed during the initial authorization of the project, the city would look to transfer sewer funds into the project to avoid actually borrowing for the work. As we approach the end of the fiscal year 2023, costs have been incurred and a transfer is necessary to avoid a deficit balance in the project fund. I am requesting a transfer from the sewer enterprise retained earnings in the amount of $382,913. The total project authorization of $1 million will remain the same, and this transfer will reduce the original loan authorization by the same amount. As this is a transfer of retained earnings, it will require a public hearing prior to any final action by the City Council. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing.
Order number 156, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby reappoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Richard Kelly of 2 Goodwood Avenue, Beverly, to serve on the Beverly Licensing Board. His term is to be effective until June 1st, 2029. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 157, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby reappoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Ms. Stephanie Tallow of 3 Herrick Street, Beverly, to serve on the Beverly Council on Aging. Her term is to be effective from June 30th, 2023 until June 30th, 2026. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 158. Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Ms. Tara A. Duffy at 28 Whitney Avenue, Beverly, to serve on the Conservation Commission. Her term is to be effective from June 30th, 2023 until June 30th, 2026. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 159, dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Ms. Grace K. Charles, 12 Hale Park Avenue, Beverly, to serve on the Conservation Commission. Her term is to be effective from June 30th, 2023 until June 30th, 2026. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please also refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 160. Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Ms. Janice Wanchik at 22 Federal Street, Unit 404, McLean Building, Beverly, to serve as the tenant representative on the Beverly Housing Authority. Her term is to be effective from June 30th, 2023 until June 30th, 2028. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 161. Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Nathaniel J. Lewis, 27 Whitney Avenue, number 1, Beverly, to serve on the Beverly Planning Board. His term is to be effective until December 31st, 2025. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. Councilors, I would entertain a motion to accept a late file from His Honor the Mayor.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Dear Honorable City Council, order number 162. Please find and close an order proposing amendments to Chapter 270 of the city ordinances relative to parking regulations at various locations in the city. As you are aware, last year we passed parking ordinance change, which among other things added the waterfront parking area to the city's downtown parking district. As summer 2023 approaches, with anticipated greater parking demand by users of our waterfront, the administration, with the involvement of municipal city departments and waterfront stakeholders, have worked through and now presents to you further proposed refinements to our parking ordinance. Our goal is better meet the goals of many residents and visitors. We hope you will come enjoy our beautiful Beverly waterfront in the months and years to come. I respectfully request that you include this filing on your agenda for June 5th and schedule a public hearing for June 20th, 2023. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs to set that public hearing. Let's go to communications from other city officers and boards, please. Ms. Kemp.
Order number 163, from Paul Earl, from the Beverly Harbor Management Authority, a report update.
Thank you. Councilors, this is the supporting information that we heard Mr. Earl talk about tonight, so I'd entertain a motion to receive this report and place it on file.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 164 from Councilor Rotundo, a proposed ordinance amendment for Article 6, Section 192 regarding lodging house licensing.
Thank you. Councilor Rotundo, anything you'd like to say about this before it's referred?
Nothing, just that we spent, a quick thing, we spent a lot of time with the solicitor's office and the various departments in response to last year's permitting process where we recognized there were a lot of deficiencies happening. So I hope that it gets done. The dates have changed to move it up to give more timing for inspection, so it's sort of, hopefully we can get it passed before the end of session this next few weeks.
Thank you very much, Councilor Rotundo, for your work on that, and thanks to our solicitor's office as well for their partnership on that with you. Let's refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs, please.
Order number 165 from Councilor Houseman, an update in petitions regarding the Central Cemetery.
Councilor Houseman, anything you'd like to say about that before it's referred?
No, just that we had, yes, I guess. We just had a couple of good meetings last week on finance and property, and then a separate one with myself and Mr. Perry and members of the engineering department, specifically focusing on issues related to the Central Cemetery, trying to move forward on the master plan, and trying to come up with basically a sign-off by the engineering department and myself on the best way to move forward. So that's an ongoing discussion, but I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm cautiously optimistic about that.
Thank you very much, Councilor Houseman. Ms. Kent, let's refer Order 165 to the Subcommittee on Finance and Property.
Okay. Order number 166 from the City Clerk, a renewal application for a Hawks and Pedals license for Nicole Borelli of Joe's on a Roll, located at 61 Federal Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 167 from the city clerk, a renewal application for a secondhand junk dealer for a hand-wired rescue located at 6 Broadway.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 168 from the city clerk, a renewal for a 2023 petroleum storage registration for the Northeast Health Systems, 85 Herrick Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 169 from Sergeant Henneberry, a request to amend a current city ordinance 270-49 by adding a handicap parking sign and space across from 25 Broadway.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. Let's go to communications, applications, and petitions, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 170 for the Notice of Public Involvement Plan Meeting, Phase 4, Remedy Implementation Plan Part 1 from the former Varian facility at 150 Sawyer Road.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to receive that and place it on file.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 171 from National Grid, Plan 305-48817 to install underground electric conduits approximately 65 feet southeast of the center line in the intersection of Cabot Street and Central Street and continuing approximately 25 feet in a north direction.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services to set a public hearing.
Order number 172 from Glofsky, Counselors at Law, a request for release of easement 4-6 and 8 Rantoul Street.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. I would entertain a motion to take a break for some committee work.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. I know some committees just received a lot that they need to take action on this evening. So let's aim for returning by 9. If you have discussion going longer than that, committee chairs, it may be wise to set a standalone meeting. And let's have legal affairs in the committee room, please. Finance and property will remain here. Public services on the bench, please. Thank you. I'll take a break for some committee work and we will be back.
Call to order the Subcommittee on Finance and Property. The first thing we're going to do is set our 7 different public hearings, because that can be disposed of pretty quickly. Then we'll get to our guests from the committee for their proposed new set of appropriations for us to consider. And then we'll go back and look at some of the items that are held over from the other other meetings. So first, so we have 7 different public hearings to set. The times are set out for us. It's not really particularly discretionary, so we're just going to go right through them quickly. So I would entertain a motion on Order 149 to set a public hearing for June 26th at 6:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. I would entertain a motion on Order 150 to set a public hearing for June 20th at 8 p.m. in the evening.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. I would entertain a motion on Order 151 to set a public hearing for June 20th at 8:35 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. On Order number 152, I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing for June 20th at 8:25 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. On Order 152, 150, make sure I've got these straight. On Order number 153, I'd entertain a motion to set a public hearing for June 26th at 7:05 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. On Order number 154, I'd entertain a motion to set a public hearing for June 26th at 6:45 p.m.
A question, Council, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Will our budget be complete by then? I guess my concern is
Yeah.
this to me is related to our budget.
Yeah, I think it will be. We will have voted, I didn't bring it with me, but I'm pretty sure. Do you have your budget book? Does it have the calendar in it?
The proposed meeting for the final vote is the 22nd. Is that what you were wondering?
Yes.
So this is the holdover for if not complete. So I guess that gets to Councilor St. Hilaire's question.
So, I think as you heard in the budget conversation, I have concerns that our budget proposal cuts road and sidewalk funding by $600,000, and I know that this was intended to be part of the solution. Not sure I, feel comfortable with that on its own, but I guess not knowing that it's going to pass prior to our budget discussion might have an impact on how several of us feel about the budget.
Fair enough. I think it's unlikely to not pass, just my own personal opinion, given that roads and sidewalks are what we always hear about the most. Of course, we don't have an opinion.
Could it be withdrawn?
By the administration. It could be, and we don't have a memo from Mr. Perry yet on his recommendation. I know he is closely scrutinizing the conversations he's had with me about the various different, proposed transfers.
So I guess regardless of even if we were to move up the public hearing, we couldn't complete that process prior to the budget being complete, correct?
I don't have my phone in front of me. What is the next full, it's
The
regular-
20th?
regular, it's the 20th.
If you, Councilor Husband, if you
So-
don't mind passing me that list that Ms. Kent has of all of the public hearing times that we got?
Is that this one?
Yes, thank you. Because we could, if it would feel more comfortable, we could propose to set this one for the 20th.
I think that actually makes a lot of sense.
I know I would prefer knowing that this money was approved in
Sure.
baked in before I decide on the budget and vote.
So I think I'm just taking a look because this is all of them for that date that we have in various subcommittees getting set. So we could propose to set this for the 20th at,
You want to consult with Ms. Kent before you?
before I make this proposal.
Yeah. I mean, we can do it now for sure, but if you think that would make more sense.
I have the list for what's being
8:35.
8:35, and that one's likely to be lengthier, but I was just trying to guess, 8:55
Yeah.
on the 20th.
Well, we can always make a proposal now and change it in full council, committee of the whole, right after Mrs. Kent has a chance to look at it or consult with you about it,
Yes.
if you want. So why don't we propose something now and we can amend it if we need to when we're at committee of the whole, when we come back? Does that work for you?
Yes.
As a scheduling matter?
Yes, I'm mostly just trying to do, the guessing game of how
Yeah.
long the 8:35 hearing will go.
Right. Which, that is 151, what is that?
Mr. Ailes anticipated that might be a lengthier discussion, so I think we could say 8:55. I think the agenda for the 20th is likely to be full, but that doesn't mean we can't put it here. If this 8:35 hearing doesn't take the full time, we can do other work between and then pick this hearing up.
Yeah, and council president's been known to be quite adept at moving things around.
We could put it
Within the course of a
We could
single
put it
meeting.
closer, and then we don't have as much.
Yeah, I'm not, as long, to me, it would be preferable that we do it earlier rather than on the 26th,
Yeah.
so anytime on the 20th.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I think that makes sense.
I support the counselor on that. I think that's a good call.
I also think that makes sense. So, I would make a motion that we set this public hearing for the 20th at let's say 8:50. And if we have to juggle a little, we can.
Second?
50. Okay, a motion's been made on order number 154 to set a public hearing for June 20th at 8:50 PM. A motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Good call, Counselor St. Hilaire. Order number 155, this is a transfer request from the enterprise retained earnings. I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing for June 26th at 6:55 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Okay. We have, why don't we next take up the matter of, set these aside. Take up the matter of the recommendation by the Community Preservation Committee on its funding. Are there any members of the subcommittee who would like to suggest, tearing down the carriage house? Or otherwise, including that in the appropriation? Any discussion?
Yeah, I guess I'll bite. I'll comment.
It was an invitation.
Having been a park ranger at Lynch Park and spent many, many years in Lynch Park, I would say I value the carriage house as a historic part of our character of our community, and I would say we should do everything we can to keep it upright and whatever emergency funding we need. I know it needs a lot more than what we're auzing, obviously,
$1 million
and deserves a lot more of a plan, but if this keeps rodents out and keeps it from collapsing into the harbor, then we should do that.
I want to thank you for biting. And, so the conversations we had last week, Tuesday, with Commissioner Collins and Eric Barber, and then that I had with Mr. Perry 2 days later, Thursday night, with just the engineering department, not an official, was not a subcommittee meeting. There was a great deal of discussion about the question you raised, Matt, about management, right? And that we brought up at last week, Tuesday. So I do think that the obvious enthusiasm that Mr. Barber brings to his position, and now the new position, and the work that he's proposing to do, I think holds great promise to help the engineering department move these projects forward. Mr. Perry has mentioned publicly, I think I have in subcommittee, and I'll say it here, I think that the DPS could benefit by a new position to really help structure the management part of their job. So that's something for discussion in the pipeline. But in the meantime, I think, specifically about the carriage house, we owe to the community. We've already put a lot of money into it. The CPC has put a lot of money into it. We should preserve and maintain that from, structural hazard and wait for these projects to roll through. I know we have, as Mr. Perry pointed out, those 5 or 6 different items that say these next 2 budget years are going to be particularly challenging for us. But we are in very good shape, and by expending this money, it'll give the administration an opportunity to work out a plan that will be more ambitious for that and some of these other projects. So, any other questions, comments? I know I've been rambling on here.
No, I don't disagree with anything that either of you have said about the carriage house in particular. That it needs more than $100,000 of plan and work, but in the short term, I can't personally see the benefit of the alternative to doing this, which seems to me that letting it just fall, either be structurally unsafe or unsound, or collapse, or get more damage from rodents, feels to me like a lack of proper stewardship of a city resource.
And I would just comment also on the cemetery project in Beverly Farms. This is a phase 2. And part of my question was phase 1 hasn't started yet. We've already authorized phase 1. This is round 2. We're authorizing phase 2, which I fully support. It's a very good project. But these are community volunteers from the Beverly Farms Improvement Society who are doing really good work. They go through a lot of effort to put through their applications, and to have the funding there and then have a delay of, years in terms of getting the project up and running with coordination with the city, I think is frustrating. And so that to me was one example of what we were talking about before, with projects not getting done, and then just, what's next? What do we do next? It's kind of in limbo, right?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it just goes directly to what Councilor St. Hilaire is saying. I had a similar feeling, Councilor St. Hilaire, almost identical to what you're saying. I think Gillis Park is another example of that exact, we talked about it at our meeting, but that there are steps that were approved for repair at Gillis Park, and that money was also approved by the CPC. And I see that Gillis Park, and I'm, like you, supportive of all of these projects, happy to see that Gillis Park is being recommended for this approval of money for playground equipment. But I do think similarly that's, residents advocating for these improvements, and the same exact situation, just how quickly can we get work done as we're moving on to a next project that people have advocated for and that our CPC has thoughtfully considered.
Yeah.
I think that's an important piece of it.
Yeah, it's why I was somewhat candid, shall we say, last week, Tuesday, when we found out that Mr. Collins didn't even know that one of the projects on the list was a project he was supposed to be heading up. He wasn't even aware of it. So it just speaks to the challenges and management of personnel that are not, Mr. Collins's responsibility, but it's a matter of getting more resources to DPS to help them get the work done. They certainly do good work when they have the resources to do it.
Yes.
So.
It was helpful to me to understand more completely, thanks to Mr. Beckwith, this evening, that money is not necessarily released from this account, from this fund, until these milestones are hit, until work is done. So I appreciate that information and how you shared it and clarified it. I think it just offers a little bit of peace of mind as we're thinking about these management questions. I think it doesn't address the other piece, which is all of these projects represent needs in our city. Many of them represent advocacy from residents in our city, and making sure that those happen. Oh, sorry, it's not my job to call.
I guess I would just say, from a budgeting point of view, right, that would be a good number to know, like how many, what percentage of the budget is sort of already been funded and is sort of in limbo, right?
Yeah, I think we got at that a little bit last Tuesday, but I have asked Mr. Perry to continue to work on sort of developing our understanding of that. It's my understanding he's going to be working to try to get some more management resources to DPS in the pipeline. So, any other comments or questions regarding this We have Mr. Beckwith and other members of the committee here. Any questions?
I'd make a motion to approve.
Is there a
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. You folks are more than welcome to stay, but you certainly do not need to as we go through some of the other items on our agenda. Thank you for your service, appreciate it. And it's good to see you this evening. Let's see, I think, so, I don't want to belabor order number 165, but, you know, the petition of 85 people who want to see a fence at Central Cemetery. Obviously, I have been disappointed that Mr. Collins decided to hold the appropriation, hold the responses we got in the RFP to get the work done. But we've, with our exchange, which was fairly frank on Thursday night, if you think Tuesday was frank, Thursday was certainly frank as well. We are working to sort of move forward. Mr. Barber in particular is working with me, and we're supposed to connect this week. So as I said in my letter, I'm cautiously optimistic that we will move forward on what has been described as the numerous items related to Central Cemetery that need to be addressed, including the fence. So I'll continue to press the administration on making sure that those commitments are kept. But for the moment, I would just hold that letter in Finance and Property. So that's a hold on 165. Mr. Perry is also has prepared a report for the committee and for the council on order number 326, which regards the airport and the lease matters. And we need to make a decision as a council about what we want to do with that. I guess unless you want to talk about it right now, we can hold that for the time being. And as we decide as a council how we want to go ahead and whether or not to have any hearings on that or what kind of action we want to take. Council President, do you have anything you want to comment on that item?
Yes, I would be in favor of our continue to hold that.
Okay.
One of the conversations that I had with Mr. Perry, and this certainly doesn't have to be the way that we end up deciding to move forward, but there is a new airport manager who will be coming on board. It has been hired, is not on board yet. And so one of the things I had talked about with Mr. Perry was it felt to me like what might be most reasonable is to pick this up with a public meeting in September when we start back, when that airport manager has also had a chance to be in doing work, and we can have all the parties involved in one meeting publicly together, and would give us a chance to then let the new airport manager have a chance to get some time in the job.
Rounded. Yeah, okay.
Could I just ask the nature of Mr. Perry's report? You know, what is he looking into exactly?
Well, he submitted 2 memos to us. If you've had a chance to reach, one of them was confidential, one was more general. My understanding is he would like to actually, he's of the feeling that if he is asked to do some work and delivers a report, that the council ought to have a full discussion on the report that was delivered to it, rather than just letting it sort of sit and not be discussed. So I think the question is, from his point of view, is how best to have the council respond, whether it's a hearing, whether it's a special meeting or hearing, and I guess the timing, I kind of leave to Mr. Perry and Council President on when best to do that. I think he would probably prefer us to do it sooner than later, but of course, we're all mindful, as is he, that June is relatively already booked up.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Perry, but he was inclined also towards September.
Was he as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So I know he's not here tonight. I don't want to speak for him, but
Yeah, the timing I'm not as clear on. So that's fine. Any other questions about that? So we will hold order number 326. I had a brief discussion regarding order number 104 this evening with Mr. Ailes relating to the capital expenditure plan. he said that, the council doesn't actually have to take any action on it as far as he was concerned. I would say that the council actually can, if we wish, refer it back for discussion to the committee of the whole. I asked him to actually change some of the language on the entry, on the narrative related to Central Cemetery, and the work that the plan says relative to the city looking for funding sources, or working on how much to spend on the cemetery fence, because that doesn't actually jive with the conversations we've had so far. So he said he would take that up with the mayor and ask if the mayor wants to reply to my request for a language change on that. So while that's in the works, I would just hold that item unless there's any objection. And then the last item is the order number 137, I think, on our agenda. Let me just make sure there's nothing else. No, that's it. Is the reappointment by Mr. Collins. So the council has, the subcommittee has an option. We can either, well, several options. We can deny, we can hold it, we can take no action, which would be the same as a hold. It would be automatically approved after 30 days, is that correct?
30 days from when we received it, yes.
Yeah, which I guess would be the May 15th. That's the date. The order was, yeah, it was given. So as of June 15th, in a few days, it would automatically be approved. Or we can vote on it this evening, refer it back to the full council for action.
That's what public services is.
Pardon?
Just FYI, public services voted it back to the council.
Okay. So, Council St. Hilaire.
I would make a motion that we approve.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Yes. Okay, referred back to the full council. I don't believe there's any other business before the subcommittee. Are there any other items you want to bring to our attention? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn Subcommittee on Finance and Property.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Our friends from Legal Affairs should be joining us in a moment.
Do you have a quorum to do the?
We have enough people to vote on things.
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Kent,
Yes.
let's do, let's start reports from committees. Let's start with public services. Oh, you read my mind.
Yep. All right. Just want me to give it a minute?
Yes. Welcome back.
Look at
Welcome back, friends. We missed you.
We are live.
Counselor Rotundo would be happy to say he missed us even on live.
I want to spend more time with you guys than I am right now.
We're live.
Yeah, Ms. Kent, we can go with reports from committees for public services.
Okay. Order 135, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding National Grid Plan 307-58714 to install electric conduits on Levitt Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the petition be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 136, Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding a reappointment for Bruce Doig to serve as Beverly's Director of Parks and Recreation and Community Services for a period of 3 years. We consider said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 137, the Committee on Public Services and Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a reappointment for Michael Collins to serve on as Beverly's Director of Engineering, Commissioner of Public Services, Public Works for a period of 3 years. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve the reappointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 138, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding an appointment for Mr. John Curry to serve on the Veterans Advisory Council, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve the appointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 171, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding Plan 305-48817 for Central Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Set public hearing for June 20th, 8 p.m.
Questions or comments on that one? I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended for June 20th, 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 142, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a CPC 10th round CPA funding recommendation, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. And although the Committee on Finance and Property approved this as a block of recommendations, I know there was interest from some members of the council to take them one at a time, so we will do that. So I would entertain a motion to approve the recommended $44,200 from the CPA. This is for sound mitigation system in support of new pickleball courts at Birch Plains Park. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
There better not be discussion.
And I will note that although there were not speakers at the public hearing, I know councilors, we all received an email in support of the sound mitigation project as well from a member of the public. The next of the grants is $25,000 for playground equipment improvements at Gillis Park. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. Next is $100,000 for a pair of exterior support walls in Lynch Park Carriage House. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Is there any further discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. And that was one that we had some good discussion about in the context of the public hearing, and I trust we'll have ongoing conversation with the administration about how best to restore our carriage house. The next is $80,000 for restoration of 347 linear feet of Beverly Farms Cemetery fence, Phase 2. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0. And finally, $175,000 for historic preservation, the restoration of the Larkham Theater facade by reconstructing the marquee. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0. Thank you, Ms. Kent.
Order number 149, Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a transfer request of $240,000 from the city's certified free cash balance to fund 3 capital needs within the library and fire departments. Have set a public hearing for 6/26 at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, so that will be 6/26, 6:30 p.m.
Order number 150, to whom refer the matter regarding a transfer request of $75,000 from the Airport Enterprise Fund balance to fund the continuation of work associated with the testing and monitoring of property at the airport. Have set a public hearing on 6/20 at 8:10 p.m.
Thank you, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, carries 9-0.
Order number 151, the Committee on Finance and Property, whom referred the matter regarding a transfer request of up to $230,000 in the FY23 budget to fund retroactive costs back to July 1st, 2022. Have set a public hearing on 6/20 at 8:35 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, that carries 9-0.
Order number 152, the Committee on Finance and Property, whom referred the matter regarding a budget transfer request of $15,000 into the Fire Department budget to fund FY 2023 costs associated with the City of Beverly and the Firefighters Union, as well as some anticipated cost overages within the department's operating budget for FY 23. Have set a public hearing for June 20th at 8:25 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as
So
recommended.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0.
Order number 153, the Committee on Finance and Property, whom referred the matter regarding an interdepartmental transfer totaling $170,012, consisting of $157,512 to fund the increased assessment and $12,500 to be placed into the Harbor Master budget. $18,214 of the total budget, total will be transferred from the reserve for unforeseen, and the remaining $151,798 will be transferred from the short-term principal line. Have set a public hearing for June 26th at 7:05 p.m.
Thank you, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0.
Order number 154, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a transfer request of $600,000 from the city's certified free cash balance to be placed into the city's road and sidewalk capital to support paving work for fiscal year 2024. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Set the public hearing for June 20th at 8:50 p.m.
Thank you, I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0.
Order number 155, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a transfer request from the sewer enterprise retained earnings in the amount of $382,913. Have set a public hearing on June 26th at 6:55 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, that carries 9-0.
Thank you. Order number 117, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding an application for a new Class 1 motor vehicle dealer's license for Beverly Port Marina, Inc., located at 43 Water Street. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Receive and place on file.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal to receive this and place on file. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 140, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding an application for a renewal for a Class 2 motor vehicle license for Michael's Auto Body of Beverly. Have considered said matter. Recommend the license be granted with no on-street parking and buying and selling of cars capped at 6 per ordinance.
Anything, legal affairs, any clarification that you want to offer? Counselor Rotundo?
Basically, what you just said, it's just in regards to referencing the ordinances within the, that's already existing. It was basically all that's was saying.
Sorry, Counselor Bowen. Mr. Alexander?
I believe that what it said is that the license was not gonna say no on-street parking. It was gonna delete the old license that had been carried forward over the years, said including on-street parking. So I don't think that the way that was read is it said that with no on-street parking, the business itself may from time to time have legal on-street parking. So I just want to make that clear, that we're just deleting that language from the license.
Counselor Rand?
Thank you, and Mr. Dole was very helpful in this. That technically, the way the street parking is there, our city ordinances don't allow for commercial use of those spaces anyway, so what we approved is just a basic license, but in the application on the second or third page, the applicant wrote and included parking on street with the application. So what we really want to do is make very clear that we're striking that language from the application. We're not approving that language within the permit application.
But also, it's not a condition of the license. And just to make the record clear, that license had been carried forward for 50 years with that language. That's why it was in the application. So it was, I just think that the way that was read, it said that this license can have, the use of it can have no on-street parking. They're gonna be, any business has the right to have legal on-street parking by their customers. So I just don't want that to be a condition of the license that says this license, provided there is no on-street parking, because that would be, I think what we're saying is we're deleting that language from the application, and that's not included in the new license.
Counselor Rand?
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. Anyone can use the parking as intended by ordinance.
Right.
But the business cannot park cars that are being worked on.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I thought we were just deleting
I'm
that.
actually just clarifying what you're saying, so.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
but the way that was read, it said that part of the license was gonna say there would be no on-street parking allowed with that use. And
I understand.
so I just wanna make sure that the license comes through just without that language, without the on-street parking, but it doesn't say no on-street parking allowed.
Yeah, you're looking at me, I'm just going by what the solicitor would tell me.
I was going to say.
And what the council suggests.
Mr. Dole, may I just ask a clarifying question, just to make sure so it sounds to me, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding our Chair of Legal Affairs correctly, Mr. Alexander correctly, and we approve this correctly. Is it correct then to say, Mr. Dole, it sounds to me that what we are saying is that the on-street parking, the license will be approved, on-street parking can be used as city ordinances provide, which does not mean that cars being worked on by the business can be parked there, but customers can.
Good evening, Jesse Dole from the Solicitor's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Dole.
At issue is the application, part of the requirements in the application is to give a complete description of the premises to be used for carrying on the business of selling secondhand motor vehicles. The description given by the applicant was of a 40 by 60 foot building to be used for repairs of damaged vehicles, and this is the language in the application at issue with on-street parking. The license to be issued cannot give any blanket guarantee of use of on-street parking. That would just, what was discussed is the application would strike as much of the description of the premises states with on-street parking. And the applicant would be, the applicant and his employees would be subject to the same ordinances regulating parking on that section of School Street. So it simply was to strike that language in the
application.
In the application.
Okay,
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it.
thank you. So, counselors. Counselor St. Hilaire.
I guess, Mr. Dole, if it's okay, I guess as Ms. Kent read the order, the report, is that accurate, or do we need to amend that?
I think the way to look at it is vote to approve the issuance of the license, striking so much of the applications describes the premises as with on-street parking.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a grant of a license. It's the grant of a license without any pluses or minuses as that other applicants would be issued.
Counselor Rand.
Thank you. That is the vote that we took in legal affairs.
Okay.
I think, quite honestly, it was, as you could imagine, it was just challenging to kind of write all that down and be 24 minutes late back here.
No, and
So I apologize for any confusion that may have caused.
No, and I also,
It is exactly the vote we,
and I can see how this both is exactly that vote and just clarifying it, so it is as clear legal language-wise as possible.
Thank you.
In the minutes it will reflect.
Yes.
yeah.
So, given all that, counselors, I would entertain a motion to approve, as legal affairs recommended, Order 140, to approve the license while striking from the application the language pertaining to on-street parking.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. Thank you, Mr. Dole. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Thank you, Ms. Rand, Counselor Rand. I don't know why I just reverted to that. So sorry. It's 9:40, and
I take blame for that.
no, there's no blame. There's no blame, but thank you for indulging me, Counselor Rand.
Order number 166, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for hawkers and peddlers license for Nicole Ferrari, Joe's on a Roll, located at 61 Federal Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Carries 9-0.
Order number 167, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for 223 secondhand junk deals license for Hardwired Rescue located at 6 Broadway. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 168, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for a 2023 petroleum storage registration for Northeast Health Systems at 85 Herrick Street. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0.
Order number 172, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a request for a release of easement 4, 6, and 8 Rantoul Street. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow as report. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 9-0. Thank you, Ms. Damasco, for hanging in with us all night on that.
Order number 162, the Committee on Legal Affairs, whom for the matter regarding a proposed amendment to Chapter 270 of the ordinance relative to parking and regulations of various locations in the city, have set a public hearing for 6/26 at 7:30 p.m.
Questions or comments on this one? Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Husband, I thought I saw your hand, but I was imagining it. You know, sorry, Counselor wrote a piece of my pen also.
I was wondering what it was. Yeah.
It was a piece of pen.
Okay. I didn't feel it. I was just
Getting violent up here, watch out.
So the question comes on the acceptance of the.
Clarification, Councilor, what order were you to?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Order 162. So this is a public hearing on a proposed amendment to Chapter 270.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, Counselor Bowen.
Thank you. I just had one question on whether the Parking and Traffic Commission had already weighed in before it came to us, or whether they would weigh in at that public hearing or before.
Counselor Rotundo, did you have a thought
I
about
believe
that?
they're already been conferred with engineer and the parking and traffic, it's already been discussed in regards to, it's just the implementation of the actual kiosks and stuff down there. So it's been an ongoing process. I think now it's just bringing it up there. It was in response to some of the boating activity, as well as the parking issues overnight and stuff like that.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended for 6/26 at 7:30 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that carries 9-0. And councilors, because this is also a proposed change to an ordinance, this will appear under motions and orders at our 6:20 meeting, so that it can have a reading at that meeting as well. It will not be voted for final passage, but we will take a first pass at it.
Order number 169, Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a city ordinance section 270-49 amendment to include handicap parking spaces, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Submit the accompanying amended ordinance and recommend its adoption.
Questions or comments on this one?
Pending publication and final passage.
Thank you. Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of proposal and adoption of the, no.
This is not gonna be the first reading, it's just,
Oh,
going-
yes,
it's
sorry.
coming out of committee and going into, yeah.
Okay, sorry, that will be under motions and orders as well. All right, thank you, Legal Affairs, for that. Is that it?
Yep.
Oh.
No,
Oh,
I'm sorry. One more. Order number 164, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a proposed ordinance amendment for Article 6, Section 192 regarding lodging house licenses, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Submit the accompanying amended ordinance and recommend its adoption pending publication and final passage.
thank you, and this will also be under motions and orders at our next meeting. Thank you, Councilor Rotundo, for your work on that.
That is it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Thank you to everybody who stayed with us for the duration. I do want to just mention a couple of announcements that I have, but councilors, are there announcements or reminders that others have? Councilor Rotundo.
No, never mind. Forget about it.
Councilor Crowley.
Yeah, just a reminder that on June 7th, which is Wednesday, we do have the it's the information as far as public information plan meeting. That'll be at the high school, and we encourage everybody to join us. This is to talk about where they are going to present a revised Phase 3 remedial action plan, and then the Phase 4 remedy implementation plan for the stuff up at Varian site. So, everybody in the public wants to hear about it, then this would be the time to be there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilor Crowley. It's an important reminder. Thank you. Other reminders or announcements from the council? We do have our next Finance and Property Committee of the Whole meeting to continue looking at the proposed FY24 budget. That will be tomorrow, beginning at 6:30, with Councilor Houseman chairing that meeting as Chair of Finance and Property. Our next regular meeting, we did reference it several times this evening, setting many public hearings for it. So I wanted to make note that that is June 20th. That's a Tuesday. And so our next regular meeting of the council will not be on a Monday. There's a Juneteenth holiday that falls on that Monday, and so we will be meeting then on Tuesday. And many of those public hearings that were set tonight were on a Tuesday. So I wanted to just mention that so members of the public who may be interested can make sure to note on their calendar that it's a Tuesday meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Councilor Rotundo.
I did want to mention that the firefighters, this Sunday, June 11th, and also wanted to recognize that yesterday was the Policeman's Memorial Sunday as well.
Thank you, Councilor, for both of those reminders. I also wanted to mention, I guess this is a busy week in the city of Beverly, but on Thursday at 5:30 p.m., we also have the city pride flag raising will be happening on the lawn outside of City Hall, and everyone is invited to come and take part in that. And I did want to mention that yesterday was also Beverly High School graduation, and so congratulations to all of our Beverly High School graduates. It was a wonderful and celebratory occasion, and Councilor Rand, I understand you knew one of the graduates very well.
I do.
Your son Miles graduated yesterday.
I sure did.
So congratulations.
Big moment.
Congratulations to Miles and all the other class of 23 grads.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim, was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I read it, and what are you saying? There's no... No, it's gonna go on to motion and orders. No vote tonight. Those are the two that we... No. Yeah, so we're good.
Thank you, and I guess one other reminder, I'll just mention, I've noticed that Matt Nugent, who's a Beverly resident, but also a excellent advocate in areas of gun control and gun safety, is here with us this evening. And we are right around the start of June, which is Wear Orange Weekend, but it is a time to be aware and to reflect on gun violence in our nation and what we might be able to do to advocate for safety for our young people, for our adults, for everyone. So thank you, Mr. Nugent, for hanging in with us all evening as well. Other reminders from members of the council? All right. Kim, thank you in the BevCam booth, making sure that our meeting was broadcast. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. That carries 9-0. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.